There's a silent crisis happening right now, and you might be part of it without even knowing. Masculinity is under attack, not by force, but by subtle habits, hidden beliefs, and unconscious behaviors that slowly erode your power from within. Every time you second-guess yourself, every time you shrink to make others comfortable, every time you hesitate to speak your truth, you're not just avoiding discomfort, you're sabotaging your masculinity. And the worst part? Most men have no idea they're doing it. They think they're being nice, they think they're being respectful. They think they're doing what they're supposed to do to be accepted, liked, or loved. But behind that fake harmony is a slow death of their essence, their strength, clarity, direction, and presence. And that's why this video matters more than you realize, because if you've ever felt like something was missing, like no matter how hard you try, you're still not respected, desired, or taken seriously, there's a high chance that one of these 10 signs is at play in your life right now. In the next few minutes, we're going to uncover 10 specific ways men unknowingly sabotage their own masculinity. We're not talking about cliches or surface-level traits. We're diving deep into the psychology, energy, and patterns that silently drain your masculine core. And here's the promise. By the end of this video, you won't just recognize the traps, you'll know how to escape them. You'll walk away with awareness, clarity, and the power to reclaim who you were meant to be. Because the truth is, masculinity is not about pretending to be tough, raising your voice, or chasing women. It's about internal mastery. It's about being grounded when chaos hits. It's about walking into a room and needing nothing but owning everything. It's about knowing your values and refusing to compromise them. That's the energy that commands respect. That's what women are drawn to. That's what other men admire. And that's what's being stripped away, quietly, when you sabotage yourself. So I need you to do one thing before we dive in. Commit to watching this video until the very end. Don't just skim it. Don't just nod and move on. This could be the moment that flips the switch. The moment you finally understand why things haven't been working and how to make them start working for you. If that sounds like the kind of transformation you've been waiting for, drop a comment below, right now with the words "No more sabotage." Because after this, you're not just going to learn how to stop destroying your masculinity. You're going to learn how to embody it fully. And if you find value in what you're about to hear, consider subscribing to this channel. It helps spread the message to more men who are stuck in the dark, waiting to be reminded of their power. Now let's begin. The first and most overlooked sign that you're sabotaging your masculinity is the need for constant external validation. This shows up when you base your confidence on how others respond to you, whether it's a woman smiling at your message, your friends laughing at your jokes, or strangers liking your posts. It feels innocent, even normal, but it's lethal to your masculine foundation. Because every time your self-worth depends on something outside of you, you lose your power. Masculinity is built on internal validation. It's about knowing who you are even when no one claps for you, even when she ghosts you, even when your efforts go unnoticed. The real man doesn't need applause. He moves from principle, not permission. When you stop chasing approval, you become undeniable. Women notice, other men respect it, and most importantly, you respect yourself. This isn't arrogance. This is presence. If you feel the constant need to prove you're enough, understand this: you're not lacking confidence, you're leaking it. The fix: cut the habit. Don't post for likes, don't speak to be liked. Speak truth, live truth, and that truth will become your shield. The second sign you're sabotaging your masculinity is emotional reactivity. The world will test you. Women will test you. Life will test you. And the man who reacts without control proves he has no control. When someone cuts you off in traffic and you explode, when she pulls back and you instantly panic, when someone disagrees with you and you lose composure, you're revealing your fragility, not your strength. Masculine power is calm. It's the eye in the storm. Stoicism teaches that you don't control the events, you only control how you respond. If you lose that response, you lose your dignity. And here's where most men go wrong. They think feeling deeply means reacting emotionally. No. Real strength is when you feel everything but show nothing until you've chosen the right course. Emotional restraint doesn't make you cold, it makes you wise. And women? They feel this difference, a man who cannot be rattled, cannot be manipulated. A man who pauses before he speaks commands attention. Don't be the guy who lashes out or breaks down at every shift. Be the man who holds his ground. In silence, in tension, in power. The third sign is putting women above your mission. If your entire identity crumbles the moment a woman walks away from you, you've made her your purpose, and that's the death of masculine energy. Your mission comes first, always, because your mission is what makes you a man of value. It's what anchors you, drives you, and builds your presence in the world. When you drop everything for her attention, cancel your plans to fit her schedule, neglect your purpose just to be available, you're not being romantic, you're being replaceable. Because the man who abandons himself to gain love eventually loses both. The irony is, when you prioritize your purpose, you become the man she wants to be around. Not because you're chasing her, but because she senses that your life has weight. Your time has gravity. You're going somewhere, with or without her. That energy is magnetic. It communicates confidence without a word. So if you've been putting her needs above your goals, shift the focus back. Build your mission. Double down on your vision. Make your presence about more than just her affection. And watch what happens. The fourth sign you're sabotaging your masculinity is avoiding discomfort. This might be the most subtle and destructive one. Every time you hit snooze instead of waking up, every time you skip the gym, avoid the difficult conversation, or numb yourself with distractions, you're choosing weakness over growth. Masculinity thrives in discomfort. It's where character is forged. Avoiding pain doesn't protect you, it makes you soft. And in a world that's addicted to ease, the man who chooses challenge stands out. When you train your body, your mind follows. When you do the hard things without being told, your confidence skyrockets. Because now you don't need motivation, you have momentum. Think about it. How do you feel after a cold shower, a tough workout, a hard task completed? You feel alive, clear, present. Now compare that to how you feel after hours of scrolling, porn, junk food, or sleeping in. Numb, guilt-ridden, weak. One leads to power, the other to regret. So start small. Wake up earlier than you want. Say no when it's easier to say yes. Choose effort over ease. Do this consistently, and you'll become the kind of man who is forged by fire, not broken by it. The fifth sign you're sabotaging. Your masculinity is lack of boundaries. A man without boundaries is like a fortress with open gates, inviting anyone to invade and take what they want. You say yes when you mean no. You tolerate disrespect just to avoid conflict. You let others dictate how you feel, what you do, and where your energy goes. And then you wonder why you feel drained, anxious, and powerless. Boundaries are not about being aggressive. They're about being clear, about choosing what you allow into your life and what you refuse to entertain. When you say no without guilt, you signal self-respect. When you enforce your standards, you draw a line that defines your worth. And here's the truth. People will test your boundaries constantly, especially women. Not because they're cruel, but because they want to see if you're grounded or if you can be swayed. The man who folds under pressure loses value instantly. But the man who stands firm, even if it means losing someone, earns lasting respect. Set your rules. Speak your truth. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. And the moment you start living this way, your entire aura shifts. You stop attracting chaos and start commanding order. The sixth sign that you're silently sabotaging your masculinity is over-explaining yourself. A man who constantly justifies every word, every action, every emotion is unknowingly begging for approval. You tell her why you didn't text sooner. You explain why you said something bold. You offer reasons for why you went to the gym, why you're not available, why you need space. And every time you explain yourself when you weren't asked or when it's not necessary, you shrink. You send the message that you feel guilty for having a spine. Real men don't explain confidence. They embody it. If your actions are rooted in principle and integrity, no explanation is required. The world doesn't need to understand your choices to validate them. You are not here to be palatable. You're here to live aligned with your mission. Silence is a weapon, and restraint is power. So the next time you feel the urge to explain why you didn't chase her, why you didn't answer immediately, or why you live the way you do, don't. Hold your frame. Let your actions speak, and if someone can't understand that, let them go. You're not for everyone. You're for those who recognize presence without permission. The seventh sign is people-pleasing. This one hides behind politeness, generosity, and being the nice guy. But underneath the smile and the fake harmony is a fear of being disliked, rejected, or seen as selfish. And that fear leads to betrayal of self. You say yes to things you hate. You agree with ideas you don't believe in. You compromise your standards to avoid tension. But every time you do this, you erode your integrity. Stoicism teaches us to pursue virtue, not approval. A masculine man doesn't aim to please. He aims to live rightly. And when you live rightly, some people won't like it. Good, that's the filter. Because when you stand for something, the right people are drawn in and the wrong ones are repelled. That's how you build a life of depth and substance. Stop saying yes when you mean no. Stop sacrificing your truth to gain temporary peace. That's not peace, that's quiet desperation. Your job isn't to keep everyone comfortable. Your job is to build a life you respect when no one is watching. That requires confrontation. That requires courage. And when you stop people-pleasing, you finally start living. The eighth sign is consuming more than you create. Masculine energy is active, not passive. It's about movement, building, direction. But most men have become consumers of content, of opinions, of distractions. They scroll for hours, binge-watch meaningless content, absorb the thoughts of others without producing any of their own. Their minds are full, but their lives are empty. And they wonder why they feel lost, uninspired, or invisible. It's because they've forgotten that men are made to create, to build something with their hands, their words, their energy. Whether it's a business, a body, a mission, or a movement, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you are in motion, that you're using your life force to bring something into existence. Every time you choose to create instead of consume, you sharpen your masculinity. You become more grounded, more decisive, more magnetic. So audit yourself. How much of your day is spent watching others live? And how much is spent building your own legacy? Create more. Post that video. Build that plan. Write that script. Sculpt that physique. Let the world feel your impact. Because a man who creates is a man who cannot be ignored. The ninth sign is refusing to lead. In relationships, in decisions, in life. Too many men wait. They wait for permission, for the perfect timing, for her to decide. And in that hesitation, they lose respect. Because the masculine is meant to lead, not with arrogance, not with domination, but with clarity and direction. Leadership starts with knowing what you want and being unapologetic about it. Women are drawn to men who have a plan, not men who wait to be told what to do. The man who leads doesn't ask, "What do you want to do tonight?" He says, "I made reservations. Be ready at 8. The man who leads doesn't ask, "What do you think I should do?" He asks himself, "What aligns with my values?" and moves. This isn't about being controlling. It's about having a spine. The more decisions you avoid, the more your life feels directionless. The more responsibility you take, the more power you gain. So stop waiting. Start leading in every area of your life. And if that intimidates people, good. Let your strength sort the crowd. Masculinity was never meant to blend in. It was meant to stand tall even when others shrink. The 10th and final sign you're sabotaging your masculinity is living without solitude. We live in a noisy world, a distracted world, a world where every free second is filled with noise, notifications, music, messages, opinions. And in that noise, you lose yourself. You become what others think, what others want, what others expect. But true masculinity is forged in silence, in stillness, in solitude. If you can't be alone with your thoughts, your goals, your emotions, You'll never know who you truly are. And if you don't know who you are, how can you lead? How can you build? How can you attract? The strongest men throughout history embraced solitude, not as isolation, but as refinement. They knew that time alone wasn't wasted. It was where vision was born, where discipline was sharpened, where inner strength was developed. So make solitude a ritual. Go for walks without your phone, sit in silence before your day begins, journal, reflect, think. In the quiet, you'll start to see what matters, what you want, who you are. And that clarity, that's priceless. It's what separates the man who's reactive from the man who's relentless. Solitude isn't weakness, it's sacred. And when you learn to master the silence, you become untouchable. These are the 10 signs. And now that you see them, you can't unsee them. They've been hiding in plain sight, in your choices, your habits, your thoughts. But now the mask is off. The question is, what will you do with this awareness? Because knowing isn't enough. Masculinity isn't just something you understand. It's something you practice. Daily. Ruthlessly. You show up differently. You speak differently. You walk into rooms with quiet strength instead of loud desperation. You stop explaining. You stop chasing. You stop begging to be seen. And you become the man who cannot be ignored. The man who lives by principles. Who protects his energy. Who walks away from anything that doesn't align with his mission. That man, he doesn't need to prove his worth. He lives it. And that, my brother, is a power that no woman, no failure, no rejection can ever take away from you. Because it wasn't given to you, it was forged. So now you've seen it, all 10 signs. Maybe some felt like a slap in the face. Maybe others hit so hard because you've been living them without realizing. But here's the thing. Awareness is a gift. A brutal, beautiful gift. Most men walk through life numb, unaware, and trapped in cycles they don't understand. But not you. Not anymore. Because now you know exactly how you've been sabotaging your masculinity, and more importantly, you know it's within your power to change everything. This isn't just about getting women to notice you or commanding respect from strangers. This is about reclaiming the man you were meant to be. The man who isn't afraid to lead, to stand tall, to be alone, to say no, to say nothing when necessary. The man who knows what he brings to the table and refuses to shrink for anyone. When you stop seeking validation, the world shifts. You walk differently. You speak with intention. You stop needing permission to take up space, and people feel it. They don't know why they're drawn to you, but they are. Because masculinity in its purest form doesn't need to scream. It's silent, centered, unshakable. A man who's in control of himself becomes magnetic, not because he's trying to be, but because he is. The truth is, the world doesn't need more passive men, more lost boys trying to be liked. It needs more warriors, more kings, more men who live with purpose, who don't flinch at discomfort, who protect their peace like it's sacred. Because it is. Your peace is your power, and you protect it by cutting out the habits that weaken you, the beliefs that drain you, and the behaviors that betray your potential. Think about it. What would your life look like if you stopped apologizing for your strength? If you stopped giving energy to people who don't respect you? If you built your body, your mind, your finances, and your mission with relentless focus? What if you made solitude your sanctuary instead of your fear? What if you spoke less and listened more? What if you stopped reacting and started responding? What if you finally believed without a doubt that you are the prize? Because that's the truth, you are. Not because someone said so, but because you're the kind of man who chooses growth when others choose comfort. The kind of man who walks away when others chase. The kind of man who doesn't need external approval because his internal world is built on stone. Let me say this clearly. It's not too late to become that man. I don't care how lost you feel. I don't care how many times you've failed, how many mistakes you've made, or how far off track you've gone. Masculinity isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. It's about course correction. It's about waking up one day and saying, I'm done playing small. I'm done living for crumbs. I'm done waiting for life to happen to me. From this day forward, I take full responsibility for who I become. That mindset, that's where everything changes. Because the moment you decide to own your life, no one can take that power from you. Not rejection, not failure, not criticism, nothing. This transformation won't happen overnight. You'll be tempted to fall back into old patterns, to explain yourself, to overthink, to chase, to doubt. That's okay. Just don't stay there. Catch it, recenter, return to your mission. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, self-control over impulse, purpose over distraction, you sharpen your edge. You become the man people notice without you saying a word, the man other men respect, women are drawn to, and chaos cannot move. Not because you're trying to be anyone else, but because you've finally remembered who you are. There's something incredibly rare about a man who moves with intention, who isn't flustered by opinions, who doesn't fold when challenged, who doesn't need to be the loudest in the room because his silence already says enough. That's who you're becoming. A man who commands respect without demanding it. A man who creates more than he consumes. A man who leads himself before leading others. And when you live this way, you stop chasing. Women start noticing. Opportunities start appearing. Life stops resisting you and starts responding to you, because everything around you mirrors your internal state. You build your mind. You build your life. You master your emotions. You master your destiny. Let this be the moment everything shifts for you. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. Right now. Don't just absorb this information and walk away unchanged. Let it penetrate. Let it sting. Let it wake something up inside you that's been dormant for too long. That fire in your gut? That's your masculinity coming back to life. Feed it, fuel it, follow it. Start showing up differently. Set boundaries. Get in the gym. Read with focus. Speak with clarity. Cut off distractions. Surround yourself with men who challenge you, not coddle you. Choose the harder path, not because it's trendy, but because you know the reward is greater. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. And when you respect yourself fully, the world reflects it back to you. From now on, stop measuring your worth by how she responds. Stop living for likes, replies, or applause. Your validation isn't external, it's internal. It's earned every time you do the hard thing when no one's watching. Every time you rise early. Every time you speak truth. Every time you say no to what weakens you and yes to what builds you. That's masculinity in motion. That's the life of a man who refuses to be average. And the best part? It compounds. One small choice at a time. One habit. One decision. One shift. Before you know it, you're walking taller, thinking sharper, moving with precision. And the world treats you differently because you treat yourself differently. Let me leave you with this. Being a masculine man in today's world is rare, which means being one is powerful. It means standing for something while others fall for everything. It means being the calm in the storm, the silence in the noise, the oak tree that doesn't flinch in the wind. Be that. And if this message spoke to you, then do something about it. Don't just scroll away, share this video, leave a comment, subscribe. Not because I need it, but because other men need to hear this. Men who are still trapped in self-sabotage, still living for approval, still wondering why their life feels hollow. You can be the reason they wake up. You can be the spark. But it starts with you, with your decision to rise, to own your power, to never again live like a boy pretending to be a man. So here's the challenge. From this moment on, act as if the world is watching. Not to impress it, but to lead it. Carry yourself with honor. Speak with strength, move with purpose, and live with the quiet, unbreakable confidence of a man who has finally remembered he is the storm. He is the fire. He is the prize. And no one, not a woman, not a critic, not a single soul on this earth, can take that from him again. Because now you know, and once you know, there is no going back.